so Nothings is actually the first song I wrote from the batch of the beats. And so Nothings was on that website. And I remember hearing it and was like, oh, this that Hove shit. Like this that Kanye sample shit. Like, okay, now they're gonna let me get in my bag. Okay, let me get in my song cry Kanye bag. And
I'll wait till you
I
finish. Go
was
ahead.
no go.
Oh yeah, just real quick. So that beat went on a journey. When I tell you that beat has, all right, what's the word? It has hit
I
everybody's
know,
ears that I know.
right.
Every artist I know. I'm telling you, I was like, yo, this right here. I was like, what you think about this? It's like, I like that, but I don't know. I'm not on that right now. Play something else. I'm like, all right. Definitely played it for days. To this day, he's
I was
like,
gonna say, I would say I know
yeah.
Days had it.
He's like, yo, son, what happened? I'm like,
So
bro,
the story goes,
yeah.
and whenever I speak to Days for this doc, we'll make sure to bring that up. But the story goes, as so I'm told, that Days had the beat but didn't like the drums
Mm-hmm.
and wanted you to stack the drums.
Yeah. Yeah. I think his cousin
And
does that. He was telling me that, yeah, something like that.
and apparently he never stacked the drums and the shit was sitting on his website. And I was like, I didn't know that. So let me be clear. I didn't try to steal the beat from anybody, but
Mm-hmm.
it was sitting on the website. It was one of the ones that I didn't need him to send me. It was already there available for download, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm doing this. And that was one of those songs where it was just like, all right, where am I going to go with this song? Cause like I'm really thinking like Can't Be Life, Song Cry. Like I'm thinking Blueprint One type
Get that.
Jay-Z,
I get that.
Dynasty type Jay-Z, and I'm like, okay,
Sample call for that. Yeah.
where do I want to go with this? And let me be clear, at this time, again, at this time, there's no Mad Hatter, there's no discussion of what are we gonna do with these beats. This is just like I downloaded the beat at 3 in the morning, and I'm just trying to figure out what am I gonna do with this beat. Flip is not awake. He doesn't know I downloaded it. Nothing. And I just had it on repeat and was like, what do I do with this beat? Like, I could go this way, I could go that way. Like, do I want to get really sad? Do I want to be optimistic? Do I want to make it like a quote unquote girl record? I had no idea. I just loved the beat so much. Truth be told, I fell asleep on the couch listening to it on repeat mode.
Respect that.
I just was knocked out just listening to it and woke up and was like, what the hell is playing right now? And it was still the beat that would later become Nothings.
That's how you got that. That's how you wrote that damn second verse. What are those first two bars on the second verse?
Oh man, you pulling my card. I don't know off the
Damn,
top.
man.
Oh, poor righteous educator with a
With,
thirst to
I
learn.
was gonna say with a thirst to learn. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Had to
Quotables.
think about it. Had to think
Quotables.
about it.
Yes.
Well, poor righteous teacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna flip that. Um, but I truly didn't know for a while what I was gonna do with this beat. This was one of those beats where, like I said, kind of like To the Max, aka Comeback Baby, where it was just like I just was enjoying playing it. Like I just was enjoying listening to it. And I gotta be honest, I had to tell myself to stop because there are beats that I've had for like 12 years that I just love listening to so much that I never write to them. I'm just like, ooh, where's that one beat though? Oh, that's the shit.
That's when
Put it
it
on the
turns into an
speakers, crank
instrumental
it all the
now.
way up.
That's when it turns into an
Right, because I'm
instrumental.
just like, I don't
Yeah.
even know what to write to this. I just love listening to this. Like, Chris gave me a beat like that eons ago, and he always has wanted me to rap on it. And I never understood why. I'm like, this is something somebody should sing on. Nobody should rap on this. Today, maybe a melodic rapper. That was like 2009 when he gave me that beat.
Mhm.
But I say that to say, I play that beat all the time. Never will I probably write to that beat. And I didn't want Nothings to be one of those beats. What you was
Got
going
you.
to say, Dash?
I was gonna ask you. So then, how do you spark it? Like, how did you get to the point where you started to write?
That's
It's
a
not the
great
same
question.
every time. That's why she's here. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's a great question. No problem.
Yeah, so my process is not the same every time. Sometimes you listen to a beat and just flows start coming at you or words start coming at you.
Hmm.
or you might hear an artist and be like, oh, I'm gonna do something like this other thing they did, like what I just said about Campy Life and all of those songs. um but to be honest, like death, like we have had so many celebrities passing away
Mm-hmm.
that like at one point it was like every week somebody famous was dying and from our culture, and it just is like, oh my god, every day, every week, it just saw like we can't go a couple days without somebody dying. And it just had me in this mental state of like, nigga, what happens when it's you? Like, no, I'm
Mm.
not Kobe or DMX or any of the people who later would be in the video, but it just was like, but what happens when it's you? Like, what happens when it's over? Like, COVID is over now, right? Like, we're at this point, we're coming out of COVID, whatever, vaccine, not vaccine, whatever. And it's just like, all right, cool. No longer are people just dropping like flies and being put in freezer storage bags, right? And just like in freezer trucks on the street. But it's still so much death happening. And it just had me really thinking about like my own mortality and like what happens when it's you? Like what happens when it's over? And that's really why what got me to start writing. And that's why it starts that way. Damn, another day, another death of a star. And that's
That's a
really what I was
fact.
thinking about.
That's a
Just was
fact.
like, son, so many stars are gone. And especially at that time, like none of these people are old. Like we're not talking about somebody who's 102 and passed away, somebody 98 and passed away. Nah, we're talking about people who are 40 something,
Mm-hmm.
50 something. And in that 40 to 60 range, so many of our celebs were just dying back to back to back. And I'm not a star, which is part of what I say in the song, right? I say like we're all nothing, I'm nothing. I'm trying to figure out how to stop being nothing, leave a legacy, etc. But that's kind of what started the process. That it was like these stars have these legacies. It impacts us all when they pass, and it just kind of took me down a rabbit hole, no pun intended, of like what do I do? Like what do I do with these feelings, these thoughts? And I was like, oh yeah, where's that beat? And so I just started writing nothings.
Right.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I mean, that's the truth though. And
Man,
then yeah, so I did it and I sent it over.
I
And
didn't know
what
that.
you
That was breaking news to me.
no?
I didn't know that. Yeah, that's why I was
Yeah.
enjoying that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's how it happened. So yeah. So you get it. You get it. I send it to you, and what happens?
I think I called you, if I'm not mistaken.
He did.
I was like, let me just call this guy. I was like,
He
I
did.
don't even
And
want
he
to
gave
text
me
this
he gave
one.
me a speech. Let's see if you remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact speech, but it probably went something like this. It was probably, yo, bro, listen, we got something with this one. Like, I don't know what you was on with that, but I like that because I always liked the beat, but I didn't hear any words to it. So quick story, right? So the day I made that beat, I liked it so much, I went live. I was like, I'm gonna go live.
Mm.
My man Fells, right? He called himself Superstar Fells. We used to work, I forgot the name of the company, but we used to work at this job years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only time I knew him. I worked there for like 2 or 3 months. And I went live and he was like, yo, he was like, what's that? And then I'll never forget that. He called me and I sent him my address. He pulled up. We sat in the studio
Wow.
for hours. He just wanted to hear that beat. He was
Wow.
writing. I'm telling you, he was writing. He wrote like 4 verses. But he was
Wow.
just like, he was like, nah, I don't know. He's like, the song's not coming together the way I want it to come together. And he was
Mm.
like, yeah, bro. He was like, I'm gonna pull back up one of these days. Yo, that was like 2, 3 years, like
Wow.
before you even heard the beat. You know what I mean? Like, shouts to him. He was the
Yeah.
first one. He was like, no, that beat is incredible, bro. He was like, yo, that beat is incredible. That's why I say with music, you never know. Like, you never know. Like, you really, really, you never know where it's gonna go. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, you never know. So it
Yeah.
worked
So
out.
so Flip calls me and he's like, son, use a different kind of songwriter. And I'm like, wait, what does that mean? Is that bad? He's like, no, nigga, like this shit is crazy. What
That's
the
good
fuck?
shit.
Like,
That's good.
what, like, son? And then that's when he tells me, he's like, son, mad people had this beat and none of them did this with it. And at that time, you wasn't sure if Days had it or not. You was like, I think Days might have even had this beat at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I stopped and was like, wait, did he write to it? Are we fucking up? What's going on? And hold the phone, nigga, because I love this shit.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in competition with my brother. We gonna have to fight for this beat if that's the case.
Facts.
And he was like, no, he didn't write to it. I can't remember why. I don't even remember if he had it. But anyway, it don't matter, nigga. This shit is crazy. I'ma mix this tonight. And I was like, oh.
But there's so many stories like that. Go ahead.
On that beat, or you mean
No, just in general. It's so many stories like that. They'd be like, yeah, I had that beat, or this happened, and somehow it ended up over here.
Yeah. So actually, remember we spoke about J. Cole Inevitable last night.
Mm-hmm.
And J. Cole had Rick Ross Tears of Joy first.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He plays his version on the podcast. Yeah. He
I
was
didn't know that.
so when he was recording Sideline Story, he had a bunch of sessions with No ID. And that was one of the beats that he used. It was that and Stay by Nas.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. Was CeeLo
Yeah.
so CeeLo wasn't involved with the process yet?
No, and it sounds different. Stay was Stay though. Stay by Nas, that beat was the same.
Okay.
So the beat is the same as just No CeeLo. But yes, it's really interesting to hear
J. Cole
what people
on
did with
Stay?
it.
Wow.
Yeah, he did something on Stay, and he had a song to Tears of Joy. Yeah.
I can hear it.
Yeah,
that Stay is heat.
I need to hear J. Cole. I need to hear his version.
Yeah.
I'm a big Rick Ross fan, so.
Oh yeah. You don't know. Dash is a huge Rick Ross
that's
fan.
what's up. Yeah. That's what's up.
So I'm like, wait.
And J. Cole says it. He's like, I didn't keep it because at that time I was so new in the industry. We didn't know how the process worked. So it was just like, oh yeah, whatever. And we waved it off. We didn't know that like we could have held it in a different way. It just was like his management came to him, was like, hey, you did these songs. Are you keeping them? Because if so, we have to pay for them. And him and his boy, who was kind of his manager, is like, nah, those songs weren't strong enough for us to keep. Don't pay for them. But they didn't know the process. They didn't know like you could kind of hold them or whatever. And he says it, and he's like, and his boy's like, yeah, them shits was crazy. And he's like, yeah, but we also know what Ross and Nas did with them shits, and they're fucking phenomenal.
Facts.
So I ain't mad at all.
Yeah.
They went to who they were supposed to go to. But anyway, yeah. So he mixed Nothings, and it was just like, wow, this is a record right here. Like, and immediately, you remember what you said about the video?
I don't. I remember saying something about the video. I think
on that phone call when he said he's gonna mix it tonight. He's like, but I already see the video.
Yeah,
like,
I just don't remember. I don't remember the original. And
he said
vision.
He was like, son, I feel like niggas gotta be like driving around.
Yeah, I was gonna say something and something. Yeah.
And like rapping in the car the whole time. And I was like, all right, we'll see how that goes. And so yeah, that was Nothings. Real quick, while we on Nothings, let's talk about how Nothings changed the game. So we had this plan to do like some music videos that would be just like very simple and for promo use, but do other videos that would be real singles, quote unquote, and more complex, more locations, etc. And so we immediately decided Nothings would be a real single. It would be a full video. And I'm not going to say names, but somebody was telling me like, hey, if you film the footage, I'll take care of the editing for this price. And I was like, man, this is a great price. And me and Flip spoke. It was like, all right, great. And so I kept trying to plan it with them like, all right, but when you need the footage? And they just kept telling me like, yo, just send the footage. Don't worry about it. Just send the footage. Just send the footage. I'm like, all right. And so I go and I film Nothings all by myself. Never did that before. And and that was wild. And y'all will see some of that footage on the doc here. And I'm like, all right, Flip, I got it. I got everything shot. I'm gonna send it over to my boy. We just gotta pay him X amount. He's like, yeah, no problem. And so I hit dude and I'm like, yo, I got that footage. He's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, yeah, how you want me to send it? Like, you want me to send it on Google Drive? It's all 4K footage, it's big files. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh yeah, however you want to send it. But when you want this video done? And I'm like, oh yeah, like we spoke about, like, you know, in like a month if possible. And he's like, yeah, not possible. And I'm like, what? What do you mean not possible? He's like, yeah, I'm not going to be around for, basically the quick version is dude wasn't going to be around for like a month and a half before he could even start working on it. And then was like, but just send it to me and I'm going to start working on it at some point. And I was like, nah.
It's not working for me. Yeah.
Nah, that's not fly right there. We wanted, because we already had, right, I'm about to say, so we already had, me and Flip, like a timeline and a vision of like, we trying to start putting stuff out by this time. This is how we want to do it, etc. And it was just like, nah, he can't do that. And so now it became this thing of, what are we going to do about this footage? Because I shot the footage for Keys and Nothings the same day. And they're just like, what are we going to do now? And so the answer was, well, we could find somebody else, but who knows how long that will take. Or, well, Jay, you got all the footage. Why don't you give it a shot?
Yeah.
And now, you know, what are we, 6 months later at the time of recording this? I've now recorded and edited 9 videos by my lonesome.
Okay.
That's great.
And so, yeah, Nothings was the first problem child of this project.
Listen, I'm glad.
As much as we loved it, it was also as much as I hated it, because now I had to learn how the hell to edit a music video, which is extremely different than editing a podcast. Because everybody was like, oh, you about to edit videos? Yeah, that makes mad sense. You edit podcasts. And I was like, no, nigga, no, it doesn't make sense. Like, all my peoples, when I spoke to them, they just was like, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Don't you edit all your podcasts? I'm like, nigga, that's mad different. It's not the same. Like,
it's a little bit more that goes into it than that. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, it's totally different. Like, it's really easy to be like, oh, I shouldn't have said blah, blah, blah. Let me just cut that out of our podcast. Quick edit, no problem. Create a 4-minute video out of 8 million different things and B-roll footage and sync the music to the lips. And I just is like, fuck. And so I just did nothing except do Nothing's video for like weeks.
Listen,
and was like,
that's like the life of being an engineer. Somebody call you like, yo, you mixed it? That is the most open-ended question somebody can ask you. You know what I mean? But you get used to it. Right. They be like, yeah, yo, or somebody, they be in the studio with you, be like, you know what? Just mix it. Oh, okay. That's it, huh? Just mix it.
Just no instructions.
Just mix it. Gotcha.
Yeah, son. So,
Get it, yeah.
Nothings was the first video that I would do on my own. Which truthfully, the plan was for me to do the simple ones, right? Because it was like, there's barely going to be any edits, very long shots. It'll be fine. At worst case, it'll suck, and we'll use them for promo. And then it was like, nah, but not the quote unquote bigger videos. And now it's like, all right, I guess Sexual Intellectual Media will be doing all the videos now. And so that was that. That's what Nothing.
But that's how we got here.
That's
how we got here. Let me tell you something. I can give you this in 10 seconds. When I was 10 years old, my grandmother had this Dell, and I just destroyed it. When I tell you, I don't know if it was Fruity Loops, everything you could think of, I put on there, just trying to figure out how to make beats. And fast forward, we here. I didn't have anybody make a beat or mix anything for me, so we here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. And so that takes us to Fool. Fool was from those emails.
I never liked that beat. I never liked.
What beat did you like? Besides Comeback Baby.
That's a good ass question.
Okay, nothing's Comeback Baby. You know what? Woo. I
Okay.
actually
Ooh,
liked
yeah.
that beat. I just didn't know who I would hear rapping on it.
Okay.
Right. Certainly not me. Because
Yeah.
even when I heard it, I was like, we'll get to that, but I was like, can I rap on this? Am I capable? We'll get
Nah.
back to it. But Fool was in those
Okay.
emails, and I remember hearing it and was like, ooh, this shit is hard. But it also sounded like Flip was listening to what's the Little Nas X song?
I can't.
Old
Yeah,
Country
yeah,
Road.
yeah, yeah.
This if you ever listen to the beat, just the beat, this is Flip's version of that. And that's the first thing
I
I
remember.
text him after claiming the
I
beat.
remember.
I was like, "Oh, you was listening to Little Nas X when you made this shit." And he was like, "What?" I was like, "I hear it. You think I can hear it? You can't hide it." And he was cracking up. He was like, "Son, you're an asshole." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm right though, because this shit sound like you took a country shit and put some trap
Mm-hmm.
drums on it." And I loved it. I was like, this is dope. But I will confess, and I said this to Kia and Chris when they came through to do the sequencing with me. I didn't intend to do this song. I was gonna do like a talk shit record with Days. I said that in the email. In the email, I was like, taken. Me and Days will jump on this and kill it. And and that was my thought. And I even told Days about it. I was like, yo, next time we hang out, I got a beat I want you to hear. We got to kill this shit. And I thought we was going to do some
I
like
remember that.
Styles
Remember
P,
you told me that.
Jada, back and forth shit, but like some real just talk shit record. And I was like, yeah, I can hear the flow. Me and Days had a song like this years ago that we never put out. I know exactly what we're going to do with it. But then I didn't see Days. And I just kept listening to the beat. And now we're talking about what we're going to do with the
Mm-hmm.
project. There's other songs being created. And actually, Fool is one of the last songs I wrote because I had in my mind that I was going to do the song with Days. And so I just was like, not really paying it any mind. It was just like, man, when me and Days link up, we're going to write this shit real
Mm-hmm.
quick. We'll bang it out in a night, and that'll be that. We'll probably even record it because we both have the capability to record at home. So I ain't even worried about it. And then I just was bumping the beat one day on the train coming home from work and was like, oh, I've had this line in my head since I broke up with this person in like 2017. And I just always was like, one day I'm going to say on a song, back when I was sipping champagne by the
Mm-hmm.
pool, who'd have know that I was
You
getting
said, there
played
you
for a
are.
fool?
Mm-hmm.
You see? Exactly.
I just need to say
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
this record is so interesting to me because we talked about nothings. There's a lot of even Comeback Baby. There's a lot of you go deep. You put your business out there. Let's just
I put my business in
let's
the
just call it
streets.
what it is. You put your business out
I
there
put my
in the
business in the
music.
streets. I sure do. Yeah. I'm one
He
of those
definitely does.
rappers.
I sent Fool to a bunch of people. I was sharing it around. I was like, this is my co-host. He's doing his thing, whatever. And I got so many hits back that were like, "Is this true? Did this
Yes.
really happen?"
I think I called him
Yes.
on that too.
Yes. That is the number one question is two questions. It's like the two most asked questions are, is this real? And then the follow-up question is, why did you put this on a song?
Right.
And I'm just like, yo, I had to do it, son.
So I had.
In fact, when I put up a clip of me recording it, which we'll get to in a second, but I put up a clip of me recording the record, and my dad called me and was like, "Hey, I know we never really talk about your music,
Since you
but
put it out there.
did you write a song?
Mm-hmm.
Did you write a song about so and so?" I said, "Yes." He said, "But that's old, right? Like that's from 2017." I said, "No." He's like, "You just wrote that like right now?" I said, "Yeah, a couple days ago." He's like, "No, you didn't. You're not still stuck on that." And I said, it's not about being stuck. It's just like it was never
Right.
addressed. He's
Express.
like, and then my dad gave me a speech about how it don't need to be addressed. He's like, no, just erase that. Erase that. Don't put that out. Nobody needs to know what happened. It was a long time ago. I was like, nah, Dad, it's coming out. And it's fire.
Like you
Trust me.
15. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people who know me personally know me and my dad are mad close. That's my homie. That's my homie for real. And we chat. We talk about women, life, viral videos, you name it. We talk about everything. He'll call me and be like, "Hey, did you hear Jay-Z blah blah blah?" I'm like, "Yes, Dad. That happened 6 months ago. You just finally got that one?" He's like, "Yes." I just got it. He's like, "Yeah, it just happened yesterday." No, I'm like, "No, Dad. That was 6 months ago." Let me show you.
So he was concerned. He was concerned that you were reaching too far back.
That's okay. That's
yes.
all right.
He felt, and so my rebuttal was, "Hey, let me ask you something. When did Michael Jackson break up with the girl from She's Out of My Life?" And he said, "I don't know." I said, "Right, nobody knows. Nobody knows when that happened." I said, "When did Billie Jean happen?" He's like, "Oh, it happened because it was in the news." I said, "Yeah, it was in the news, but when did it happen? Do you know? Wasn't that years later?" He's like, I guess it was years later. I'm like, "Yeah, Bob, part of being an artist is expressing things when and how you feel." You could rap about something today that happened when you were 5 years old. And people do that all the time. But my dad doesn't really listen to rap music, so that's the other kind of like disconnect. He just was like, "I mean, I hear you, but it's not really anybody's business."
Well, right.
And I was like,
"Now it is." Life. Like,
right. And I just was like, "Now it is."
He was like, "I lived through this with you." You know? So
listen.
Right.
You pitched
it to me.
That it was real. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, even in the studio when we were mixing it, Mike Black was like repeating lines back as he's listening to it. And he's like, "What did she do though?" I was like, "Mike, you didn't listen to it?" Yeah, and he says that. I was like, I looked at Days. Days was in the studio. I'm like, Mike trying to get the tea. And Mike was like, "Yes, comedy. I want the tea. Comedy. Tell me." And I'm like, "Mike, it's in the song." He's like, "But there's not enough details." And me and Days bust out laughing because we like, there's mad details in the song. Yeah, do it, listen. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. And Days was there, and he's like, "Nah, but this song hits different because some of us were actually there when this stuff was happening." And I was like, that is true. That is true. And he was like, "Yeah, Jay's not lying.
Lying. We need that footage. We need to see footage of that." Yes.
Of Days saying that? Yeah, it'll be in the doc.
Days was in the pool?
Days was yep. I can't say nothing else. Yes, Days was in the pool. I almost said too much right there. My mouth just opened and I was like, "Shut your damn mouth, Jay. Shut your damn mouth." Days was in the pool, yeah. Because we used to throw pool parties. That was the thing, right? Like because I lived so far. I lived 66 miles from everybody I knew. And so it was like, if you can find a way to get here, we will provide everything else. And so we had like alcohol and food and music, and we had the pool and the front yard and the backyard.
I followed up on that one. You know, a cop, they be like following up on a lead. I had to call. I was like, out the city? Like, I didn't. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You were in the bird.
Right. Like, you was really.
Yeah. I used to live deep in Long Island at one point, and that's what some of this is about. That's what the whole song is about. But yeah. So yeah. And actually on weeknights, we spoke about this song before it came out, and you did like a mini interview with me. Some of that footage might be included when this comes out, but yeah. Yeah. So that was cool. You was like, I remember you was like, "Oh, that was deep. That was good, but that was stressful."
Listen, people gonna ask questions, especially people that know you and care about you. They're gonna be like, "So,
Well, those people, that's what I'm saying. Like Days knows, right? Days was there. Days knows. You know, a lot of my closest people know. But for example, me and Dash are close, but I wasn't really close with Dash at that time. So when Dash is hearing this song, it's like, wait, what? What happened?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Again, I was just like, oh,
This is news.
I have follow-up questions,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's one. The Fool is one of them ones where everybody has questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said this to Mike Black in the studio. I don't remember if this part made the footage or not, but one of the things I think, I said it to you actually on that weeknights episode. I said one of the things I think is fun to do as an artist is turn your pain into something more.
Facts.
And so if people are dancing to Fool, if people are bumping Fool, it's like, yo, look what my pain grew up and became.
Great
You know what I'm
point.
saying?
That's a great point. That is a great.
Yeah. It's like look what my pain became.
That's a great point.
I mean, we will definitely look at champagne differently, Champagne by the Fool differently
Yeah.
now that we heard
Yeah,
Fool.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yes,
Listen, it was like that.
your pain did bring us there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So